Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome to DC Fans United. So at this point, it's been 2 or 3 days, depending on when I upload this, since Stan Lee passed away. I'm sure you're well aware of it, but I figured I should make my own dedication to his memory. He truly was very influential in the entire comic medium, and I think he'll be remembered as long as comics still exist. So obviously this is a DC channel and he primarily worked for Marvel, but what he did there cannot be understated. And whether he created or co-created his characters all of the time is up for debate, but what is known is that he created as much, if not more, than probably any other writer. And you know, he's just the most well-known pop culture representative of the comics industry. And I think that with him being gone, there's no one even close to his stature that can take his place. So, with that being said, I thought it would be interesting to share some of his DC work with you guys. So everyone knows that he worked for Marvel, but what some people don't know is that he also had a series of books called Just Imagine, which was his work for DC Comics. So this was in 2001 when these came out. It was really interesting. Stan Lee reimagined several DC superheroes, including Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Aquaman, The Flash, and so in 2014 and 2015, Grant Morrison's series The Multiversity actually established the Stan Lee characters as canon, so they exist on Earth 6. So I thought that was a pretty nice thing. I like when they bring things in like that, such as Kingdom Come, for instance, as well as also has an Earth. I think it's Earth 22. Anyways, so Stan Lee's Batman was named Wayne Williams, and he debuted in Just Imagine. It was the first one, and Stan Lee wrote it, and Joe Kubert actually did the art. So they had some really all-star artists that worked on these. Let's see. Just like the regular Batman, he has no superpowers, but he has a much more realistic bat-faced costume. So I think that's one thing a lot of people remember, is the Batman in this looks like a bat, like he really has a bat face. So unlike Bruce Wayne, Wayne Williams is African American. He is also, though, he has some things in common. So he has a vast personal fortune as well, and he's also in excellent physical condition, and he uses various gadgets and equipment like night vision, Kevlar, and sensors to magnify sound, and a cape to glide. So his father was a policeman who was killed in an ambush, and Wayne himself was later framed for a crime. So he ended up vowing vengeance on the gang leader who set him up, and in prison he befriends a scientist named Frederick Grant, who teaches him how to develop his mind as well as sewing and bodybuilding. So while incarcerated, Wayne Williams learns his mother has died and blames Hans. After rescuing the warden during a prison riot, he's given a full pardon. So he's able to get out, and while he's on the outside, this is the crazy thing, he needs money, so he becomes a wrestler under the name Batman. So he never unmasks himself, and he's a professional wrestler. But in a few short weeks, he gained enough money to become extremely wealthy. And Batman eventually finds and fights with Hans, who accidentally falls to his death. So that's the end of the conflict, and no longer seeking vengeance, Batman begins a mission of justice to fight crime and protect the innocent from villains like Hans. So pretty interesting and different take on Batman. Stan Lee also did one on Wonder Woman, which I thought was really interesting. Wonder Woman is called Maria Mendoza, and so we had Stan Lee and Jim Lee, Lee and Lee on one book. But this one's kind of interesting. Maria is an activist protesting against a corporate excavation of an ancient Incan holy site near her village. The CEO has a plan to gain power from the site and take over the world. So Maria's father is kidnapped by the evil CEO and she follows, but she's too late to save him. And then the CEO gains demonic powers from artifacts at the site and then travels to Los Angeles. Maria herself finds a staff, a magic staff, and grants her powers of the Incan sun god, and she uses them to pursue him and defeats him. And she decides to stay in LA and takes on the name of Wonder Woman. So that gives you a good idea of some of the differences. I also thought his Flash was really interesting. It might actually be the most interesting of the bunch. So the Flash is female. He gender swaps some of the characters. One thing you got to give it up for him is he was really creative with these characters. He really changed them significantly. But anyways, this Flash is named Mary Maxwell, and Kevin Maguire did the art on it. So this version is a college girl whose father is a scientist, and Mary's life is very dull. And this is kind of cool. She actually wants to be a superhero because she reads comic books. Unfortunately, though, she has a life-threatening disease that slowly drains her energy. So there's a side story here where some enemies from her father's past want to kill him, and they do, but right before he dies, he injects Mary with DNA from a hummingbird. So it's to save her from her wasting disease, but it also grants her the ability to travel at high speeds. And she renames herself the Flash. So I kind of thought that was cool. A lot of these are kind of more science-based, which makes sense. That's kind of Stan Lee's bag for a lot of these. A lot of these characters become scientists and whatnot. But aside from Flash, Wonder Woman, and Batman, he also wrote about Superman, Green Lantern, Robin, Shazam, Aquaman, Catwoman actually, Sandman, the JLA, and Secret Files and Origins. And he also did a Crisis event for it. So very cool. He did quite a bit for DC if you think about it. Not nearly as much as Marvel, but he definitely made his mark on DC as well. So he's going to be sorely missed. I know we're all missing Stan Lee. And let us know down in the comments your memories and thoughts about Stan. What's your favorite characters he created? What's your favorite comics of his that you've read? Alright, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Be sure to hit the bell for notifications. If you aren't subscribed, please subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching and being a part of DC Fans United.
End of line.